listeners from the mighty regions of West Noble, Central Noble, East Noble, and beyond, of course. Welcome to Just Give Me Some Time, a podcast that is about creating conversations with area youth, parents, volunteers and we talk about the things that we were discussing on Wednesday nights and things going on at Rock Solid and in the community. At this point, I'd like to introduce some important people. First of all, we have our executive producer, Matt Gaff, producer, Gavin Gaff, and I am Dave Hilbish, youth pastor at Stones Hill. Tonight, we have some awesome guests to introduce. Guys, could you introduce yourselves and what your social security numbers are, please? No, I'm kidding. What is your...
311. That's how mine started.
It's because you stole it. What is your favorite dessert?
My name's Wesley Hilbish, and I enjoy a good ice cream and brownies sometimes.
Duly noted. Make it part of the meal plan next week.
My name is Nolan Parks, and one of my favorite desserts is dirt pudding.
Dirt pudding. It's
Yeah.
good. With or without the gummy worms?
I usually have it without.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a weird texture with sometimes, but some people are a big fan.
I mean, I can do it with.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Separate them if you need to.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, my name's Jordan Yance, one of the leaders out here. I'd probably have to say cheesecake's probably my favorite. It's like the go-to.
That's good. Do you have a certain flavor? Or is it just like straight up New York?
You know what? Typically like turtle or like strawberry is my
That's
go-tos.
good.
But I mean, I just like plain cheesecake. Like,
Yeah.
I'll eat that any day of the week.
That's good. Why did the Turtles in New York City have to take ownership of the cheesecake?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
We should do
That's
some
really
research
bizarre.
behind that. There's gonna be
Yeah,
some story.
let's take a
I'm sure.
deep dive sometime. Save it for a future episode. All right, real quick question to get to know you guys better, of course. Favorite movie, and what character would you play? And maybe if you had to change the actor, what actor would you have play yourself? Let's start with the Wes.
Well, me and Nolan were talking about this earlier, actually. And I didn't even think about it, but I could be pretty cool to be in the live-action Tarzan because he's a good he's a fit guy. He's a handsome dude, but the co-star's pretty attractive too.
Well, you're halfway there with your hair.
That's
Just
two
keep it lit.
pluses there, and he can fight like gorillas, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool. He holds his own. Actually, got kind of beat up by one, but he fought there for a little. And he said a person to replace me.
If you had to, if you had to.
I don't know. The guy who did it, I don't know his name, but he did a pretty good job.
It was
He's
good.
a
Yeah.
foreign dude.
Yeah.
Pretty good, but
Yeah. I like it. That's good. And run around on your knuckles all the time.
Yeah, it'd be kind
That
of
was
cool.
interesting. Yeah. Nolan, what about you?
Well, something I would like to do would be Batman. I feel like that'd be fun to do. Do the voice.
Do you have a Batman voice?
Yeah.
If you had the podcast, do the rest of the podcast, and you had a voice, would you be up for that? Like,
No, probably not. I'd have to save it for the movie.
okay. Do you have like a voice that you'd like to use that you'd like to try out for everybody to see right now?
Maybe.
The new Batman today doesn't even have a voice.
He just kind
He just kind of
chill.
talks.
Yeah.
emo Batman.
Yeah. I mean, this is gonna be on YouTube, so
That's true. You want to save it.
yeah.
Is what you're
There
saying.
could be copyright issues down the road.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't know where this would go.
Yeah.
Nolan could be the 2030 Batman or
Yeah.
down the road. Who knows? Yeah. What about you, Jordan?
I'm gonna throw it way back. Like I'd like to be like Rocky from like the Rocky movies. Like those, like he's just the man. So
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Rocky, man. You would stay with Stallone?
Yeah, stay with
Okay.
Stallone for sure.
That's good.
That'd probably be one of my second picks.
Totally. Yeah.
I guess you go with Creed nowadays since Creed's
Oh.
those movies are all like coming out now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all Creed's on, so.
Yeah. That's good.
You
We just
play
ha-
Creed?
No, I don't know if I play Creed.
We just saw the Tommy Boy clip. I'm sorry, Chris Farley clip on the SNL with the Matt Foley motivational speaker. I was thinking of playing Tommy Boy. You know,
That'd be a good
Chris
yeah,
Farley.
That'd be sweet.
His physique. this is on point, I feel.
Yeah.
I might try for that down the road. All right, Jordan, we have a few things that we'd like to interview. We have some student athletes that are also Christ followers. So I thought Jordan would be an awesome volunteer to be able to lead this interview.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm looking forward to this.
Go for it, man. Just roll right into it.
Yeah, so I know that when Dave and I were kind of talking, we kind of talked about like what kind of challenges that a student athlete kind of has growing up, especially in the high school years. And as I really thought on that and kind of reflected through my time, even through high school, but then also playing a little bit in the college ranks too, I'd say the biggest challenge is really just keeping your morals about what you're doing and everything. It's easy to kind of get caught in that stigma of athletes and having to be cool and going out there and partying all the time or having sex or drinking and all of those things. So it's kind of tough to still keep your morals in line with all that. But that also kind of plays into a strength in my mind too, that you can lead and be a true Christ follower and lead in that way. And even without even bringing Christ up, a lot of times other athletes and other ones around you are going to notice a difference about you. And it's pretty cool that you can, even though there's those challenges of those things, if you just lead differently, that they can kind of view you in a different light because of all of that.
So good.
Which is something that I tried to do through my high school years and, of course, in college a little bit too, with being a student athlete with everything.
Yeah. Well, what are some, you want to lead them through the line of questions that we have here? And
Yeah, absolutely. So,
really appreciate the history you bring to the table today.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I went through West Noble, got to be in these guys' shoes a few years back. Unlike these two, I only played football through my freshman year. Then I picked up tennis instead of football because football to basketball was a little too hard on the body. But we know that both Nolan and Wes are awesome football players and got to represent West Noble well in that way with everything. But yeah, a couple questions, I guess, with you guys, especially sports related and stuff. We're right in the middle of March Madness and everything. So who do you guys have as your picks for the NCAA tournament?
Who's still in?
Well, there's 16 teams left.
Yeah, so who are some of the better teams?
Well, we talked about Alabama before, and you and I were talking, so they're still in it. Still got Texas, Gonzaga, a lot of those big schools. Princeton, if you want to go underdog.
Yeah.
Yeah, Princeton's still making a run.
Did you have anybody finishing out that was?
Yeah, who'd you pick in your bracket that you did
yeah,
for here?
is maybe they're far gone.
Did
and
they
we
lose?
just don't know.
Who did I have? I had Houston.
Oh, they're still in it. There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
Houston and Alabama, I think.
Okay, yeah, they're both still in it, so you're doing pretty well.
So I'd say I'm going to stick with my bracket and go
Okay.
Houston winning.
Houston winning. Okay, still could happen. Still could
Yeah.
happen. Wes, how about you?
Well, I chose IU winning it all.
It's
So,
a little rough, man.
yeah. But is Baylor still in it?
They are.
Okay, well, I had them against IU in the finals.
Okay, so still got some shots with it. I had Texas and Alabama, so I had Texas win loss. So we'll see. They're still both in it too. So
Okay.
Let's see how mine finishes up. How about you, Dave? You got a team?
Oh, I used my alma mater, and I mean Purdue was too. So I was
Yeah.
like hoping for both of those guys.
And unfortunately, they're both gone.
I know. Yeah.
First two rounds.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I got another question to throw at you, and I'll actually kick off answering this question. We're talking about kind of scriptures and why you choose that scripture. So mine has always been one from the book of Romans. It's Romans 12:12. I don't know if anybody else here knows that one. Any ideas? No, there's three parts to it. So it's be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer. So it's always been one that I've loved because it's kind of just three key areas to always focus your life on, with being joyful in all of those good times and in the hope of life, but at the same time we know we're going to have affliction in this life that we have to work through and be patient through. And then that last line just always just kind of sums up what we should be doing all the time, which is just being faithful in prayer. So that's always been my favorite one, but anybody else want to hop in there and kind of throw in theirs?
For me, it's a pretty popular verse, but I think that it can be very personal, especially to Christian athletes. Is Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." And as an athlete, sometimes you feel like you can't do certain things, but you know, God can help you through it. So that's sort of how I relate to it. It's like, I relate it to like athletics and stuff, and like just life in general.
That's good.
What's hilarious is we were talking about this right before we came on here, and it's literally inscribed in my cross necklace, Philippians 4:13, the whole verse. So it's just kind of funny that
Yeah.
Nolan and I had that same one on the mind.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. I appreciate you not using that.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I didn't want to take it from you. I've got multiple favorite verses. That's just another one. So. Wes, you got yours up?
Well, I feel like my verse has changed a lot over the years. I just always kind of, in different parts of my life, I'll be like, oh, that's a really good verse. I'm going to kind of write that down. But then it's changed a lot. And had one before, but we read this, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I just thought it was really good. This whole passage is in 1 Corinthians 13, which was funny because I couldn't find it after I just remember what the gist of it was. I just remember it was really good, but I couldn't find it. Jordan remembered what it was. So, just one of these verses. It is 1 Corinthians 13:11. It says, "When I was a child, I spoke like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I gave up childish ways. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part that I shall now fully, even as I have been fully known." That was a bit choppy, but I just feel like it speaks a lot of what men should do. And later, throughout this chapter, it talks about how people should love too, and like what love looks like. So, as men, we should give up childish ways, but also know how to love well and know what love is. So I just thought that was a good way to kind of sum it up in one chapter there.
That's good. How have you guys changed? I think about athletics. I think athletics is just such a great vehicle. Like as you're reading West, because you guys are. I mean, you played from 4th or 5th grade, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, man, I'm thinking about the maturation process. You went from then up into, I mean, for all intents and purposes, physically, you guys are men, and then, but also able to handle your emotions and everything differently. How has athletics and maybe your faith helped you become, be part of that growing process from a boy to a man? Does that make sense? Like, is that somewhat clear?
I feel like in athletics, you learn a lot of valuable lessons that you can apply to life, and it's the same way with obviously your faith. It's how you're supposed to live out your life, and you can apply your faith to your sports and stuff, and be a light that way, shining Christ to your teammates. And
That's good. Yeah, I appreciate that. Wes, what do you think about? What are you thinking about?
I have, of course, really liked football, so I feel like
Yeah.
that's the best sport to really work as a team. So you gotta work well together to be a good football team. And I feel like over time, if you become more of a compatible team, you kind of develop like a family kind of feel to it, which is good. And like Nolan was talking about, like the lessons you learn of just character and like working hard and staying true to yourself through all that. I feel like it's also kind of like you want to protect your family kind of thing, because those people that are working next to you every day, you see them every day, and you care about them, so you just want to protect them, and if something happens to them, you want to defend them in that way. So
I love that. Yeah, that's good. I love that. Thank you for sharing all that, you guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks for Jordan, your insight as well. Moving on to some anything that you maybe think about. We talked about family matters tonight. Anything that you can think of that you pulled away from either small groups or the teaching this evening? Any takeaways you guys would add at all?
Well, in small groups, we were talking about like how to say sorry and like apologize and truly mean it. And I kind of took that away because I feel like today people feel like if someone has wronged them, they don't really need to give up that. They want to stay bitter about it for a long period of time. So I feel like that's a very valuable skill to be able to forgive people. So.
I feel like that's not really celebrated either in our society. It's like, You be you. Don't you know? You don't have to apologize for the way you're made, or you know, a lot of people giving you thoughts, and like you don't have to turn to an apology of some kind. So I appreciate that. You're saying with that, because it is hard to do the right thing a lot of times, even though it's unpopular.
Well, something I took away from our small groups was like pride can hold you back from just forgiving people, but also it can hold you back from saying you're sorry. So if you don't feel like you've wronged them, then you're not likely to say sorry. And if you feel like you don't need to forgive them, then you're not going to.
Pride, man. That's yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we talked a lot about like what are impairments that keep us from loving others well and forgiving and being forgiven. Pride, it's good. Right on. Let's go on to some trivia. We have some time for a few trivia questions. Have your cards ready to go, guys. What book? Trivia question number 1. What book in the Bible mentions mowed grass? What book in the Bible mentions mowed grass? That's what Wes does for a living in the summer, so I thought it would be appropriate for him. Last week we had a question about unicorns in the Bible, so yeah, mowed grass. All right. What'd you guys put down?
Revelation.
Revelation, Wes?
I just put Matthew.
Matthew?
I put Psalms.
Okay. May he be like rain falling on a mowed field, like showers watering the earth. Psalms
That sounds like a song.
72:6.
I was thinking like Psalms, with like just how it's written and everything, like could be thrown in there.
Question number 2. Which apostle was a tent maker? Which apostle was a tent
I
maker?
think Jordan's got the answer key over here.
He
I do,
answered,
right
he,
here.
he
You
answered
wrote
really
it- you
quick.
wrote
This
it
one,
down
this one's
before you
easy.
even
You
finished.
should know this
He,
one.
he answered
This
really
is
quick.
like very, very particular to one apostle.
It
Like,
is.
it
Okay,
is.
well, I've seen both your answers, but I don't know.
You can put it down then. I mean, it's okay. He's a pretty famous one. I mean,
All right,
Wait,
Jordan.
did he say-
it's Paul.
It's Paul.
Paul.
You got it, Paul. Yep. All right, question number 3. In the Old Testament, this is great. In the Old Testament, what happened to the kids who mocked Elisha's bald head?
How did-
Yeah. In the Old Testament, what happened to the kids who mocked Elisha's bald head, the prophet Elisha? All right, what we got?
They were eaten by a bear.
Okay.
I just put birds attacked them.
Birds.
Yeah, I had one similar to that because I knew the Ravens like were
Oh,
with Elijah and
that's
the
good.
Greeks suck. Like,
Okay.
yeah, Ravens.
They were mauled by 2 female bears.
Man.
Okay, from there, Elisha went up to Bethel. As he was walking along, some boys came out of the town and jeered at him. "Get out of here, Baldy," he said. "Get out of here, Baldy." He turned around and looked at them and called down a curse upon them in the name of the Lord. Then 2 bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of the boys.
42.
42. It is. It is. What person in the Bible was a fast and furious driver? What person in the Bible was a fast and furious driver?
No way you guys know this.
I do know this.
I didn't know Dom Toretto was even in there.
What person?
What person? Yeah, what person in the Bible?
I don't know.
This is a really weird name. I'll just warn you guys.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure I know.
Really?
it. I
That's
think so.
that's amazing. That's
I just remember the name. Like,
You're right,
It's
it
a
is a-
very,
it
it's a
is a
very
weird-
unique name.
it
Like,
is a
I just
weird
remember
name.
the story.
You're right. It is a unique name.
Ben-Hur.
Ben-Hur. Oh,
I mean, is that the right one?
yeah, it is. He's right. Okay.
Yeah, it's J.
Jay, how do you?
That's just a
amazing.
random
What
name.
is it?
Like, it was just a random story.
Yeah.
J-U?
J.U.?
Like Jehu?
You say Ramses?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, he was.
He was in Ben-Hur, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, that's a good movie. That's an old movie. The lookout reported he has reached them, but he hasn't come back either. The driving is like that of Jehu, the son of Nimshi. He drives like a maniac.
I don't know why. I just heard that. somewhere.
Wes, would you put
I put Peter.
Peter? He, given
saying that
the
came
prop,
out.
given a Toyota Supra, maybe any of these guys might have been pretty crazy. Who shut? This last one. Who shut the door of Noah's Ark? Put your name down.
questioning your answer now?
Okay, Jordan.
I put God.
God.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say like Goliath because it's, it's big enough to. Oh, he was even. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, good job, guys. Who we got? Who we got winning?
Nolan, I think.
3 out of 5.
Okay. What do you got? Yeah.
Something like that.
3 out of 5. Okay. Good job. Yeah.
Way to go,
Well, good
Nolan.
job, guys.
We're gonna
Way to
call
go.
it Nolan.
Way to go. Hey, just a quick update for this week. If you guys are out there, we're doing the ARC trip next Thursday and Friday. The Spring Break Blast is April 8th. We're going to be serving the community, doing some community service projects, getting some community service hours if anybody's interested in that. We're doing paintball as well down Leonardo and getting some pizza as well. Sign up for the Lecrae concert. We have the SOS Summer of Service coming up, and then we also have the Night of Worship on April 19th. We're getting some buses reserved and want to make sure that everybody signed up for that. Along with that, to send us on their way out, we have our theme scripture, 1 John 4:7. Who's reading that? Who's sending us out with that tonight?
I can.
Okay, Nolan, send us out.
Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. 1 John 4:7.
All right, awesome, man. Once again, look for those things that are present in our lives that are keeping us from loving well and forgiving well out there. And as we build closer relationships, not only to our family, but to those around us. It's great having you guys on the Just Give Me Some Time podcast today. Hey, a quick shout out to all the guys in Israel and Finland that are listening to us. That's pretty exciting. Have a great night.
You just gotta keep your head